This place was never meant to be seen, not by you, not by anyone. Beneath one of the most powerful places on earth, something waits in silence, something ancient, something hidden so deeply that even history itself seems afraid to speak its name. Because far below the shining domes and sacred halls of the Vatican, there are tunnels, chambers, passages that stretch into darkness, and some believe it is not just a burial ground. They believe it is something else, something that was never meant to be discovered. The Vatican stands as a symbol of faith and power, a place visited by millions every year, a place that holds centuries of belief, tradition, and authority. But what if everything we see above ground is only part of the story? What if, beneath the marble floors and towering walls, there is another world, a hidden world that few have ever entered, and even fewer have ever spoken about? Because buried deep under Vatican City lies a network of ancient structures known to history, but never fully understood, a place where shadows linger longer than light, and where every step feels like walking deeper into a secret. It began not with a mystery, but with a search. In the 1940s, workers were sent below the Vatican on orders from Pope Pius XII. Their mission seemed simple: find the tomb of St. Peter, one of the most important figures in Christianity. The man believed to be buried beneath the heart of the Vatican itself. But what they found was far from simple as they dug. Deeper into the earth they uncovered something unexpected, not just a tomb, not just a grave, but an entire underground world, a vast necropolis stretching beneath the Vatican, a city of the dead frozen in time, with narrow pathways that resembled street stone structures that looked like houses, and burial chambers arranged in a way that felt almost alive. It was not random. It was not chaotic. It was designed. Every wall, every corridor, every space seemed carefully planned, as if this place was once meant to be walked, not just visited in death. And at the center of it all, they discovered what they believed to be the resting place of St. Peter, a discovery that shook the world. But that was only the beginning. Because the deeper they explored, the stranger things became. The tunnels did not simply end. They continued twisting, turning, leading into areas that were not part of the original excavation plans. Some chambers contained markings that did not match early Christian symbols. Others hinted at beliefs, practices, and rituals that seemed older, more mysterious. There were spaces that felt out of place, rooms that did not belong in a burial site, areas that seemed deliberately hidden. And then there were the sealed passages, corridors blocked by stone doors that had been closed for centuries, areas that workers were told not to enter officially. These spaces do not exist. They are not part of the known structure, not part of the guided tours, not part of what the public is allowed to see. But whispers began to spread. Workers spoke quietly about what they had seen. Historians hinted at discoveries that were never fully revealed. Stories began to surface about deeper levels beneath the necropolis itself. Levels that no map shows, levels that remain completely hidden. And that is where the mystery truly begins. Because if the necropolis is already an underground city of the Thai dead, then what lies beneath it? Some believe that the excavation went further than anyone admits. That beyond the known tunnels there are deeper layers, older structures, remnants of something that existed long before the Vatican was built. There are theories that suggest the Vatican was constructed on top of an even more ancient site, a place of significance long before Christianity, a place that may have held power, knowledge, or something else entirely. According to certain accounts, the deeper tunnels lead to hidden chambers that contain artifacts and texts that have never been shown to the public, documents that could change how we understand history. Religious writings that may not align with what is known today, records of events that were never meant to be revealed. And then there are the stories that go even further, stories of tunnels that stretch beyond the Vatican walls, connecting to other hidden locations beneath Rome, a network that forms a secret web beneath the city, a network that may still exist, But if that is true, then one question remains. Why keep it hidden? Why seal off entire sections? Why allow only limited exploration under strict control? The official explanation is preservation, protection of ancient structures, respect for sacred ground. But some believe there is more to it because history has a way of revealing truths that power would rather keep buried. And when something is hidden this carefully, this completely, it raises questions that do not have easy answers. There are those who believe the underground chambers hold more than just history. They believe they hold knowledge that could challenge long-held beliefs, knowledge that could rewrite the past. Others suggest something darker. They speak of sealed rooms that were not closed to protect what is inside, but to protect those outside rooms that were locked away because of what they contained, because of what they represented. And while these ideas may sound extreme, they continue to persist, because no one outside a select few truly knows what lies beneath the Vatican. Access is limited. Information is controlled, and the deeper sections remain off limits. Even today, the necropolis is only partially open to visitors. Guided tours follow a strict path, carefully church. Ocean carefully controlled. What lies beyond that path remains unseen, and perhaps that is what makes it so unsettling. Because the unknown has a way of growing in the dark. The less we know, the more we imagine, and sometimes imagination leads us closer to truth than we realize. So we are left with fragments: a discovered underground city, unexplored tunnels, sealed chambers, whispers of deeper levels, and a silence that surrounds it all, a silence that feels intentional, because when something is buried this deep, it is rarely by accident. It is placed there, hidden there, kept there for a reason, and that reason may be something we are not ready to understand, or something we were never meant to know. So the question remains, how deep does it really go? How far beneath the Vatican do these tunnels stretch? What lies beyond the sealed doors, beyond the blocked corridors, beyond the limits of what we are allowed to see? Is it simply an ancient burial ground expanded over time? Or is it something more, an underground city that once served a purpose beyond death, a hidden archive of knowledge, a place where secrets were stored away from the world above, or something even more mysterious? Because if even a small part of these stories is true, then the Vatican is not just a place of faith. It is a vault filled with history, secrets, and perhaps truths that could change everything we believe about the past. And maybe that is why it remains hidden, because some discoveries do not just answer questions, they create new ones. Questions that challenge what we think we know, questions that make us look at the world differently. And sometimes the answers to those questions are not comforting. Sometimes they are unsettling. Sometimes they are something we are not prepared to face. So the tunnels remain, the chambers stay sealed, the deeper levels remain untouched, or at least that is Hat, we are told, and above it all, the Vatican stands unchanged, silent, powerful, watching while beneath it the darkness holds its secrets, waiting, perhaps forever, or perhaps until the day someone dares to go deeper than ever before, because history has a way of resurfacing, no matter how deeply it is buried, and when it does not whisper, it reveals everything at once. Until then, the underground city beneath the Vatican remains exactly what it has always been: a mystery, a secret, and a reminder that sometimes the most powerful truths are the ones hidden just beneath our feet. Beneath the surface of one of the most powerful and mysterious places on Earth, something feels wrong in a way that is difficult to explain but impossible to ignore. The deeper you imagine going, the heavier the silence becomes, as if the ground itself is holding its breath. What started as a simple search for a sacred tomb slowly turned into something far more unsettling. Workers entered the something underground, expecting history, but what they found felt like a hidden world that was never meant to be uncovered. a place that looked planned, structured, almost alive in its own strange way. And that is where the conflict begins, because nothing about this underground city feels accidental. It does not feel like a collection of graves. It feels intentional. The narrow paths resemble streets, not random walkways. The chambers feel like rooms, not just resting places. The arrangement suggests movement, purpose, and design. So the question grows louder with every step deeper. Why build something like this beneath a holy site? If this place was only meant for the dead, then why does it feel like it once belonged to the living? That is the tension that sits at the center of this mystery. A tension between what we are told and what the evidence seems to suggest. And then the deeper conflict begins to unfold. Because there are parts of this underground world that no one is allowed to see, passages that are sealed doors that remain closed, sections that are deliberately kept hidden. Officially, they are not important or not safe or not necessary to explore, but that explanation does not sit well with those who have studied the site. Because history has shown us something very clear. When access is restricted this tightly, it is rarely just about safety. It is about control of information, control of narrative, control of truth. And that is where the mystery turns darker. Because the existence of hidden areas suggests that there is more beneath the surface than anyone is willing to admit. There are whispers of deeper tunnels, lower levels that extend beyond the known necropolis spaces that were discovered but never documented publicly. If those spaces exist, then the underground city is not just what we see. It is only the beginning, and that leads to the most unsettling possibility of all, that the Vatican was not simply built above a burial site, but built on top of something much older, something that already existed long before something that may have had its own purpose, its own meaning, its own power. And if that is true, then everything changes. Because now this is not just a story about a hidden cemetery. It becomes a story about what was there first. And why it was covered. The shocking truth may not be a single discovery, but a realization that what lies beneath the Vatican may not belong to the history we think we understand. Some researchers believe that fragments of ancient belief systems were found in the deeper chambers, symbols that do not fully align with early Christianity designs, that hint at influences from older traditions. This raises a dangerous idea that the foundation of one of the most important religious sites in the world may be connected to nothing far more ancient, something that predates it, something that may have been absorbed or hidden rather than erased. And that is where the story shifts from mystery to something more uncomfortable. Because if knowledge exists beneath the Vatican, that could challenge accepted history. Then it would not just be important, it would be powerful, and power is not something that is easily shared. There are also claims that ancient texts are stored deep below in areas that are not open to the view. Public texts that could reveal different versions of history, different interpretations of events, possibly even contradictions to what is widely believed. If such documents exist, then their impact would be enormous. They could change how people understand religion, how they understand the past, how they understand truth itself. And that is not something any institution would take lightly, which leads to the darker side of the story, because secrecy at this level suggests fear, not fear of damage, not fear of collapse, but fear of revelation. There are stories that go even further, stories of sealed chambers that were closed not to protect artifacts, but to contain something unknown, something unexplained. While there is no proof of anything supernatural, the idea continues to exist because of one simple fact. No one outside a very small group has seen everything that lies below. And when knowledge is limited, imagination fills the gaps, sometimes with reason, sometimes with fear, but always with curiosity. And curiosity is what keeps this mystery alive. Even today, the underground areas that are accessible are tightly controlled. Visitors are guided through specific paths. They are shown only certain sections. Everything is carefully managed. This level of control only adds to the tension because it suggests that what is hidden matters more than what is shown. And that brings us to the climax of the story, the moment where all the questions come together. If there truly are deeper levels beneath the necropolis, if there are tunnels that extend further than we know, if there are chambers that remain sealed, then the Vatican is not just sitting on history, it is sitting on a layered secret, a secret built over centuries, hidden beneath stone, protected by silence. And the deeper truth may not be about what is physically there. It may be about why it is hidden, because the most powerful secrets are not the ones buried underground. They are the ones that can change how people think, how they believe, how they see the world. And if something beneath the Vatican has that kind of power, then keeping it hidden would not just be a choice, it would be a necessity. So the story does not end with discovery. It ends with uncertainty. We know there is an underground city. We know parts of it have been explored. We know other parts remain closed. But we do not know everything. And that unknown is what makes this story so compelling, because it leaves space for possibility that there is more to uncover, possibility that the truth is deeper than we imagine, possibility that one day something hidden will finally be revealed. Until then, the Vatican remains what it has always been on the surface, a place of faith, tradition, and history. But beneath it, there is something else, something quieter, something older, something waiting. And whether that something is simply history or something far more significant is a question that remains unanswered. So now it comes down to you. What do you believe is really hidden beneath the Vatican? Is it just an ancient burial site expanded over time? Or is it something more, a hidden archive, a forgotten world, a secret that was never meant to be uncovered? Share your thoughts, your theories, your ideas, because sometimes the truth is
Not found in what we are told. It is found in the questions we are willing to ask. And if this mystery proves anything, it is that some questions are still waiting for answers. Maybe one day those answers will come to light, or maybe they will remain
buried exactly where they are, hidden in the darkness beneath our feet.